Hey guys, I have another review, and if I look the same, it's because I recorded these all at the same time. And I love y'all, but I'm not gonna change my clothes. So just know that I do my laundry often, and I'm a clean person. But yeah, I have a review for Eithanjewel by Kimlin Stanyon, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. It was a little long, so it was kind of daunting, but I listened to it, which was nice. It's a spiritual romance. It was really cool. Basically, it's this premise that Eithanjewel is an angel, and this angel lives 3 different lives on Earth to try and better understand the human experience. And come to find out, humans are messed up and we make weird choices. But at the end of each lifetime, Eithanjewel finds that they find their way back to the perfect one, and the perfect one makes each lifetime of the 3, each lifetime a little bit more difficult than the last. The first one's pretty easy. It doesn't take Eithanjewel very long to find their purpose in their human life and find their full potential, because that's the premise of the whole book, is that like humans often will live life a bunch of times because they don't discover their purpose or their calling, and until they do, they can't join the perfect one, so they have to go back and live another life. And Eithanjewel's like, it shouldn't be that hard, like why? And in the first life, it was really easy for Eithanjewel to discover like, oh, this is why I'm supposed to be here. And then Eithanjewel goes back after living the life to the perfect one and says, that was too easy, we gotta make it a little harder. And the second life was incredibly upsetting to read. But it took Eithanjewel a little bit longer to get back to the perfect one, just because their life was it was a lot more heartbreaking than the first. There was a lot more abuse involved, especially child abuse and substance abuse. But eventually they did find their purpose. They found their way back to the perfect one. And then the third life was very similar. However, there was still a lot of substance abuse and child abuse. And yeah, but all in all, it was a really, really good book. It was relatively upsetting and heartbreaking, but in a beautiful way. Like, I rated it 5 stars because I think a good book should make you feel all the feelings and go on this journey, and that book did this, or this book did that. I loved every minute of it, and I really enjoyed just watching Eithanjewel discover themselves in each of the 3 lifetimes. I was trying to find their way back to the perfect one, while also looking for their soulmate in each lifetime, and trying to make good decisions to keep them close to their purpose in life. And it's really interesting to watch because, the way Kimlin wrote this, and the way Kimlin introduced the complexity of human existence with, the existential crisis of like, why am I here? What's the point of being alive? It's really interesting to see the way it unfolds. It's really interesting to see the way Kimlin views human existence, I guess, in a subjective way, where it's like, we all have a purpose, we all have a reason to be here, and we all have someone we're fated to be with, whether they're our friend, whether they're our lover, whether they're our mentor. Like, there's someone in our life that we were fated, well, most people in our life, we're like, there's a reason why they're there. And so it's just really cool to see this ambiguous way of being like, life happens for a reason, and you're meant to fulfill your passion and fulfill your purpose, and it may not be clear to you what that purpose is, but you are meant to find it, and if you pay attention, it will find you. And as long as you're doing everything in your power to fulfill that purpose, then you're doing the right thing. And life is going to be hard, it's going to be messy, it's going to be all the things. So I think, accidentally, Kimlin wrote a very prophetic novel, even though it's not, like, that probably wasn't their intention, but I loved it. It did give me kind of, like, this urgency to be like, I have to find my purpose, and I have to fulfill my purpose like tomorrow, even though that's super impractical to think. But yeah, it was really great. I loved it. The only thing that was daunting was the volume of the book. It was pretty hefty. There is over 100 chapters in this book, and now it all makes sense together. The only thing that I could have foreseen being better is breaking it up, but at the same time, it would make less sense putting it in 3 books and feel like very like abrupt. So I always have a hard time at giving negative feedback on books, just because, one, that's personal preference. I know a lot of people like the heftier books. I just know that I have a short attention span, so how is it fair for me to be like, well, I didn't like it because it was so long? I did like it in spite of it being long, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to be like, oh, this is negative, because it's literally all about personal preference at that point. And my preference is not normally like the majority. Like, I just know that I have a short attention span, so it's hard to be like, yeah, let me sit here for 4 days and let's read this 1,000-page book. Those books are intimidating to me, and so that's like, I have a hard time saying negative things about books because I know it's just my preference, but that's the only thing that like would deter me away from something like this, is the length. But I loved it, every minute of it, and I got over the length and the amount very quickly because I got sucked in and I loved the content, and that's literally the only thing I have to say that's not positive. I thought it was amazing. I thought Kimlin did a great job, and I loved the message that was hidden within the book, whether it was intentional or not. Maybe I think too much. But go get yourself a copy of this book, read this book, and tell me what you think. I hope you have a great day. Happy reading.